Okay. Mic, mic test, mic test. Yes. I think it's working now. Let's see. One, two. Nope, it's not this one. Yeah, one, two, one, two. Yeah, one, two, one, two. Okay, I like that. It's working. So now all I gotta do is hopefully I can get this right. I just have to. Oh, that's just my title of the stream. I have to copy and paste it because Um. Okay, so how do I do this now that I'm sharing my webcam? I'm sharing this one, which do this. I'll activate it like that, and how do you? Do you remove the background? I think you have to go to filters and then add chroma key. Similarity, something like that. I think something like this. Can you guys waiting for Xiao? I'm already live. What are you talking about? Um. Um. Let's see. Let me see this. I'm sure my camera works, right? How do you? So that's how you close it, and this is how you open it. The default. Oh, it's way too big. Nah. That's not why. It should show like I think my camera is probably broken because it's not showing anything right now. Okay, I gotta look this up on YouTube. How to fix this shit? How to? OBS virtual camera. Uh, how do you do this? How long is this video? It's 1 minute. 1 minute longer like that.
We'll guide you through how to use the OBS virtual camera. If you find this useful, then consider subscribing and liking.
Alright, so maybe can I do like instead of that? I was trying to see if I can like fix this thing, but because my camera doesn't work, what I'm gonna do is I will use. I do have this green screen, right? Yeah, but I didn't change the color to green. So what if I change the color of this to it's not green, fully green? So wait, I think green is. Oh, it's over here. I was like, what the fuck? That's using the hue, and we need this one. 0. That's the green that we need. Yep. So I'm gonna add. I'm also gonna make this green too. 0, 0, and now let's make it visible. Wait, it's not showing. Oh, it's because I didn't add the background. Let's make this big so that way it fills the whole screen. And now I'm gonna go here and then change it to green screen. What happens now? It should just show that green on the camera, I think. Oh, okay, so it's showing it, but it's not full screen. It's not gonna work then because if it did work, I would have added like chroma key, right, and then remove the green screen. Look at that. So if I do that, in theory, the whole black screen on the bottom should have been removed, but it's not coming out. I don't know. And this is the only option that I have right now to actually stream my computer. So um, yeah, you guys will just have to really just work with that because I can't really change my camera. Now everything is lagging. It actually doesn't allow me to change my camera from here. Although I can click edit and that's that. Yeah, it's cool. It's all cool, you know. But anyway, for today's live stream, we're going to be building more onto the game, the snake game. I'm gonna go ahead and add the power up that I talked about on the last live stream. I didn't get the time to do it. I didn't get the time to add it because of I was hungry, so I had to go get some food. But now I have more time, so I can go ahead and work on this a little bit more. So what I want to add is the power ups. How will they look? So I guess they could just be like random, just circular as well. It doesn't really have to be, you know, any specific image. For now, I'm just gonna make it a rectangle box using the text label because that's the easiest one to actually work with. I can like put the background and then make it visible on the screen. Let's see. So what I want to do here is I'm gonna name this power up. I think that's just power. We just call it power really, and then we can clone it later on. Add something so that way we can. I mean, we don't really have to add anything. We can just make it bigger by stretching the thing. Let's go ahead and I'll make it pink. And that's basically all we need. Go ahead and make it bigger. And then we can stretch to make it visible on the screen. Oh, actually, no, we actually have to put something for it to show up. So I'll put that. And of course, change the color to pink as well. So that way the text is now visible. And there we go. We have our power up rectangle here. Square. And when the user hits it, they basically get upgraded. They get power-ups where they could use for, like, I guess the ones that I'm thinking of to add is like speed, going fast, and also teleporting to the apple as well, like close to it than the other player is. So those are the what I'm trying to add basically. I think it would be better to to like have like text on the bottom, like say what it is when it gets spawned into the map. But that's gonna be too much maybe. So nah, we're not gonna do that. We're just gonna keep it simple for now. Because doing that actually requires a lot of things, which right now I do not want to deal with. So let's just do that. So that is simple power. Okay, so this one is going to work with selecting a power up randomly, basically. So we'll create gvar, and then we can create what power ups are available, I guess. But we need to add them in. Maybe we could work with greed. It depends what power up is spawned with. Then when the user takes it, they can work with. Well, actually, we didn't add it. So over here, we're gonna say on press power up active power up activate power activate power up. Or maybe we could do ability, right? We could do ability. No, that doesn't work. Activate abilities. Activate abilities with this lowercase a. I don't know. I'm not good with coming up with the abilities. I think that works. And then we can go ahead and put player 1. Player 1. Or just player. Activate ability. Ability. I think I'm spelling that wrong. Ability. Is there another E? Ability. Is it like that? No, it seems like I'm spelling. I'm missing the letter. Is it? Ability. Yeah. ability. Why does that look like it's missing a list? One letter, Billy, Billy, Billy. Ability. No, okay, I think that's probably the right way to spell it, guys. Alright. Okay. I think this one is also spelled wrong. It's probably just one L. Ability. No. That looks weird. Abilities. That's probably how you spell it. Abilities. Um, Let me do a quick search just to make sure. Ability. Oh, okay. So B. Oh, wait. It's an E, of course. That's why I was spelling it wrong. B, 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 E, B, E, T. Abilities. Right? Abilities. No wonder. Ability. Abilities. Yes, there we go. Abilities. Abla. Abilities. Ability. That's what this one's saying. Ability. 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 There we go. Nice. I don't know what the fuck was on there. I don't know how I put L before I. Okay, so we have this player activate ability. And the way this will work is by default it will be off, but if it's on, then whoever called the activate ability first will actually get whatever that ability was that the player took. And if one of them is already active, then it will not spawn another one until they use someone, until they use the ability. So what we can do here is we can say ability active. We can put this to false. That means currently the ability is not active. And then we can do if the ability is active, then it's going to wait for the user to finish to use it, and then it will spawn another one basically. Oh yeah, but we need more than just that. We need what current ability is active. So ability active, let's say active ability. Active ability. We'll put this minus 1, meaning there's nothing active. There's no ability currently active right now. But it will range between 1 to the length of the abilities that we have. And then here we can create that. We'll just say all ability or abilities be an array. And what the heck is this? It's a bit lagging. It's lagging a little. Anyway, actually, no, it's not lagging that much. Thought it was lagging for you guys. I'm going to put that one there. Now we need to create the abilities that are available. So that's just numbers basically that we're going to be inserting. No, that's just keys. We're going to be working with. Um, Emitter. Oh, it's going to be hard. Um, let's zoom in a little so you guys could see, because it's so hard to see, I think. Um, I'm trying to think how to execute these abilities and like how to store them, how they will work. The only way it will run the abilities is if the player has activated one of them. If one of them is activated, then it will run for that current player. Um, which is it's really hard now. And then it calls. Does it jump? I guess. Um, Indexing them is not gonna work that well because, like I said, I want them to be numbers, right? So we could do, 1 through. Yeah, I think that could work. Player 1. And then we have active ability. This will be where the number goes, I guess. So I don't think we need to do this. It's gonna be. I'll basically try to come up with a way while I code it. I guess that's the only way to make it work. Um, Static labels. We're gonna keep that like that. This is where we're gonna write our abilities. Skip. Okay, so this is gonna be something that runs in a different thread as well. what I want to write here is the main loop of the ability. So we'll call this ability, and then how it will run. It depends on if it's currently active. So here we're gonna say um, if it's active, then it will basically do nothing because it just has to return. It just has to jump to the idle state. We have that state. This is game end. We're gonna go ahead and create another one here. Call it idle, which basically just does nothing. That's the idle state right there. So we can do. I think we have something called active ability, right? Man, there's a lot of code I have to go just to. So I have ability active, and then we have active ability. So if the value of the active ability is greater than -1, then that means there's one that's running basically. So here we're gonna say, go back all the way here, active, active ability is not -1, then that means we're gonna tell it to go to the idle state because we don't want this, we don't want it to run it again because it has to wait until the current active ability is it's finished executing. That's what I called it, right? Active ability. Yeah, active ability. Then we have one called ability active. What is that? Why do we have two of them? Ability active and active ability. Hmm. I don't know why I have two of them. Ability active and active ability. I think those are supposed to do the same thing, so I'm just gonna rename this like who activated the ability basically. Active ability is the current ability that's activated, and then the player that activated the ability. So that would be what should I call this? Who has ability? Yeah, who has ability currently basically. So by default, it will also be -1. No, actually, it will be 0, and then 1 and 2 is the players. Where 1 is going to be the player 1, 2 is going to be the player 2. Who has ability? Okay, going back here. This is where now we're going to check. If it's not active, then it has to. Actually, this part here. Um, that will create abilities. It's good. It's good. Yeah, we'll let this just keep on running. So what we need to do now is check who has the ability, and then if they do have ability, then the active ability will be randomly assigned to a random value basically. So we're going to do, but before we do that, we need to actually check who has the ability. Actually, no. Um, should I wait here just to make sure that the whole game doesn't lag out? Because that can happen. Um, how do we execute this? No, I think we just do the ability and then we just call it. But we can't call the ability without the player having the ability. So what we can do is, we could change this value, I guess. Variable, active ability, then do some math at random from 1 to, let's just work with 1. So instead of doing random, I'm just gonna assign it to 1, because I'm only gonna be adding 1 ability right now. I'm not gonna be adding more than 1 because it's just too much work. So we're gonna assign it to that, and then what we can do is we can actually go here. This is where the value is set. Let's see, where is it? Somewhere here. So we're saying player activates ability. So that's where they activate the ability. So they actually have to activate it for the thing to even actually execute. So that's going to be hard also to implement. But we do need their thing to keep track of who has this so far. Okay, we're gonna do that. That seems possible, I think. I know what that is doing. Pointless. No need for that. What the heck is this? Oh, that's just moving the food. I don't think we need this. So we should also modify that to initial food spawn. Is that even good? I think we need to fix that too. It should be random instead of just putting it to that position. I wanted to do something. I actually forgot. I wanted to do something about oh yeah, I wanted to do the collision detection from the snake and the ability thing. So whoever touches it first, they get the ability. I think what we can do is go here and do collision head 1. So when they collide with the power, and then collision head power. So this means player 1 has got the ability. So we're gonna give it to player 1 here. So we're gonna do give. We could do give player 1 ability. And then we're gonna do another collision for the same thing, and this would be give player 2 because now we're working on player 2. So that is how easy it is to actually set that part up. Um, Now this is where we're going to create those labels. Give player 1 ability, and we have a variable here called who has ability, I think. And this is where we're going to set that up. So we're going to go here, we'll do var g who has ability, return. One more thing we have to do here is make sure that who has ability is set to 0. So if it's not equals 0, then that means the function, the ability is already taken by some another player. So we're gonna tell it to go to the idle state, or um, um, so we have idle state. Shit. I need a return statement here. I need another label because idle 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 return. So this is a return for like subroutine functions because they require a return statement basically. Put that one, and then over here I can tell it to jump to that, but when it jumps there it's going to get returned. And so good. I think I need to tell it to return, so I'm gonna add the ret just to be safe. Okay, so yeah, here we're saying if the who has ability is not 0, then just go ahead and return to the idle state and basically do nothing. But if the value is not 0, if the value is 0, then go ahead and modify the value to whichever the player called it, basically. In this case, that would be player 1, so I'm going to change that to player 2 for the second player. And we're done. Same thing. So that is how the who has the collision, who has the ability variable will change around. Bruh. Is it my internet or what? It's a bit slow. I'm not sure if it's just me. Okay. So that's how that works. Who has ability? So ability. It changes the ability. So in this case, this is okay. For now, we're just gonna keep it like this. Allow it to change, but it's only gonna be changing to 1 because it's just gonna be 1. But to activate the ability, that's the part that we're gonna have to do some more coding as well, right, on the activation part. So we do have this player activate ability. So this is where it will tell the ability thing that it could execute the ability. So here we're going to do computer, and then we're going to do able can activate ability. By default, it will be false, which is going to be 0. But then the user can change that, basically. Where's the user input defined? The user or the AI can change that. Yeah, keyboard input, so I'm going to add another one here too. Oh, it does have this one. Ignore. I could have just called that. I'm going to call this. So this is where the player activate ability will work. So what we can do here is can activate ability, but this will we can only modify this if we are the ones. Ignore start. Why do we have? There's a lot of things there. I don't. Okay, where's that coming from? It's a lot of code here. Oh my god, AI! Come on, man. Where's my control? There it is. All the way down here. Okay, so here we're only going to be able to do this if we actually have the ability. So if we were the one that got the ability, and we can do that by checking who has it. So we're going to do if who has ability is equal player 1, which is going to be 1. Actually, we're going to say if it's not equal 1, then we're going to tell it to go to the idle state. So we do, I think it's called return. We have one called ignore, so we can just say ignore, which is right here. We just call it ignore, and we're good to go. Because the player 1 does not have the ability, so it's basically we can't just tell it to start the ability if they're not the one that have it. Simple sense. And then over here, we're gonna say if the player does have the ability, if the player 1 does have the ability, then we're gonna go ahead and tell it you can go ahead and activate the ability. There we go. So now that we have this set, we can go to where the ability thing runs, which I think is over here. And this is where we're gonna pick what ability to execute. So based on what that value is, I will execute the corresponding ability. So over here, we're gonna check active ability. Like I said, the first one that I wanted to add was going fast, for example. That's the one that I wanted to add. So we were saying if the ability is 1, then I'm gonna tell it to go to the speed. So we'll call it ability wait, what should I call it? Ability speed ability speed. No, it's just that ability. I think it's speed ability works. Speed ability. Yeah, that works. I like that one. If that is the case, but if that's not the case, then nothing happens. But now, this is where we're going to check if this label did get executed and who executed, and if the ability is active, if the ability is set to 1. So this is where we're going to do a lot of check statements just to confirm that the ability did get called, and the one that called it has this ability, basically. So we could do speed ability. And then we could check if who has who has ability is equal 0, then that means nothing is going to happen. So we actually have to write one more label here where it will actually, I don't even have to do it. I could just tell it to go back to the ability function. So I could just say ability and we're done. So this is just going to tell it to go back to this execution here, and then it's going to try again over and over again. Okay, very good. Now, if who has ability is set to 1 or 2, if it's the player or the AI that has the ability, then we need to confirm if the current ability that we're executing is the actual ability, which is speed ability. So here we're going to say if active, I'm actually on that one. If active ability is equal 1, then that actually we're going to say if it's not 1, if actual ability is not 1, then that means we can't do anything about this. So I don't know what to do about it. I think the best thing to do here is to just go to the idle state because we can't really do much. So we're just going to say go idle because in this case, this speed ability should not have been executed, because if it did get executed and the ability is not set to 1, then that means something happened in the program, something broke. So it's just going to say we're going to ignore this and just do nothing. So that's what idle will do. Um, but if the ability is 1, then this is what we're going to check if the user has activated the ability. So that the way we're going to do that is we're going to use this key right here. Where is it? Right here. We're going to check this variable. We're going to say if the variable is not 1, then that means the ability is not activated. So it's just going to return back to the caller. So we're going to copy this and go over here and check if the can activate ability is equal 0. That means actually we're going to say if it's not equal 1, then that means the ability cannot be activated. So we're going to tell it to go back to the ability key. So that way it basically runs it again. This is the hard part, because when we call this ability function, it will always reset the current active ability, which it should not be doing that. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to tell it if the value is minus, if it's -1. Oh, actually, never mind. It actually does that for us. Okay. It actually does have this check thing. It says if it's not -1, then go to idle. But doing that actually breaks everything. So that's not good, because that would mean when when he passes this check and it goes there, and then it executes the current active ability, it will go ahead and check if the can activate is set to 1. By default, the can activate will be set to 0, because the user has to be the one that actually presses the hot key to like activate the ability. By default, it's set to 0. So that means it will basically fail. The condition here is going to return false, and then it's going to cause it to call itself again. Doing that, because the ability right now it's not set to -1, it's going to go back to idle. So going back to idle will stop the whole thing. Like the loop is going to stop running, because it's going to idle and it's doing nothing over here. So that breaks everything. So we can't do that. I need to find a better way to do this. How do I do it? Oh, can activate ability. It's not 1. Go back to ability. I need a different. I think we could just tell it to just execute itself over and over again. So instead of going to idle, we can just say, just call yourself basically. Just keep on calling yourself. That's the best option here, because it's just going to be, it's just going to be waiting until the active ability is set to something else, and that can only happen when this is when the user activates the ability. So we're gonna go here, and then what we're gonna do is set it to false because now the user has activated the ability. We're gonna go ahead and turn it off, and then we're gonna give the user the speed ability, which is moving the user fast. That's what we're gonna be doing. Moving the user very um hmm, okay. How do we move the user now? How do we make the user go fast? Um, I think what we need is probably another loop in here. So we could do run. We're gonna create a different loop. This loop will run on its own, so that way it doesn't block the current thread over here. Um, and um, run. I think run. Then we could do label. We'll call this do speed, right? Do speed. This is going to be calling itself over and over again, but it's only going to do that. It's going to have like a countdown how long it can run for, basically. So we'll put this like at, I guess 10. We'll give it like 10 seconds. No, 10 seconds is too much. Let's give it like three 3 seconds of speed. No. Yeah, no, 3 seconds. Probably it's too much, but I don't think so. I think 3 seconds is good enough. Yes, because um that's how long it's gonna be running for. 3 seconds. How much is that in milliseconds? I think that's 300 second, right? So if because the way I want this to run is 30 frames per second, right? And I will want it to run for 3 seconds. Um, and I don't want it to. I don't want to slow down the execution. I want it to like be consistent, you know. So I'm gonna be using the weights here, and then uh, 16 milliseconds every frame per second, 30 frames per second, right? Um, that's good. But now I want the count to be like, I think it's around. What's the month? What's the math? What's the math around it? So like so so like 100. So like 1,000 is a second, basically 1,000. But because we're using 16 milliseconds, how do we do the math around that? Let me see if I can. Let me see if I'm good with math. If I know how to do some math. So we have 1,000. We have 1,000. No. We have. We want it to be 3 seconds, which will be three 3,000. That's 3 seconds in milliseconds. Um, I think I have to start with 16, right? Times. Then I could do 3000. Is that how you do it? Is it that much? I don't think so. I think that's too much. Let's ask Google. Let's see. Fuck, I don't want to open that because it might slow down the whole thing. I'm gonna do it on my phone. So what I want to check is, let me just ask Gemini. I think that's the best option. How many milliseconds is fuck no, that's not how you do it. Wait. How do I say it? How many milliseconds? No. How many milliseconds? How much? How many milliseconds? How many milliseconds? And I'll say, um, how much? How much number? No, that doesn't work. What? What counts? Counting number. Fuck. How do I put this together so it understands what I'm asking? So basically, what I want is the count variable. I want then the count variable to um, instead of having 3,000 milliseconds. Man, that's 3,000 milliseconds. How do I get 3,000 milliseconds? How do you calculate 3,000 milliseconds to number? Maybe that could work, right? How do you calculate 3,000 in milliseconds to number? Maybe I think that makes sense.
3 million to convert seconds to milliseconds multiplied by 1,000.
Wait. I understand what I asked. I said, how do you calculate 3,000 in milliseconds to number? How to convert milliseconds to number? To convert seconds to milliseconds. So it's telling me 3 million? What? That's not right. That's way too much. This is going to be executing for 16 milliseconds in a frame in a loop.
Got it. So you're talking about something taking 16 milliseconds every frame. In that case, 3,000 milliseconds would be 3 seconds of execution time. Does that make sense for what?
Okay, so it didn't understand what I asked basically.
Got it. So
okay,
you're talking about something.
Let's say I wanted to, instead to get 3 seconds, I wanted to convert that to a countable number. How much will I have?
Ah, I see. So you're asking how many 16 millisecond frames you'd have in that 3 second period. Based on that, you'd have 187.5 frames.
Oh,
Practically.
is that what we need? Is that how much we need? 187 based on that for 3 seconds. For like, yeah, three seconds. Because like I said, I did want this to like execute until for 3 seconds, but I want this to be in a consistent loop. So there's no like wait, because if there is wait, then that would like not work. I want to be consistent. It's hard. It's really hard to put it in like in words sometimes. But I think that's right. Let me see. You're asking how many 16 milliseconds frame you would have in that 3 second period. Yeah, I think. How did you calculate that? Or is there a way to calculate it just to be sure?
Yep, you just take the total time you're looking at, so 3,000 milliseconds, and divide by how long each frame takes, which is 16 milliseconds.
Hmm. Just take the total time you're looking at and you divide it by how long each frame takes. Oh, so you just divide it by 16. Interesting. So 3 seconds, 3,000, and then we divide it by 16. That's how much it gives us. It was that easy? No way. No way it was that easy. I was making it so hard. I was gonna do some other shit in the background, like side loading other shit, doing some other hard things, the hardest. So this is what we need here. Um, and then now we're just gonna decrease it one. So we're gonna do var var count -1. So we're decreasing it by 1 every time. And then we're gonna do I'm gonna do it's just more seconds. This is where we're gonna have to check what we have. So what we need here is a way to also reset. So we're gonna call reset speed. Or just reset ability. Which just resets everything. It resets the current who has ability. So call reset ability. And this is only going to work if the user did press this button here. Now, I think when the user does press it, by default, it should just go ahead and reset itself. So over here, I'm gonna go ahead and reset this so that way they don't execute it again. So I'm just gonna go ahead and set it to 0. And I think it's also a good idea to remove who has ability. So that way they don't execute it, they don't get to execute it. So we're gonna do who has ability set to 0. Okay. And now we are left with this thing here that's currently running. We have active ability. So if it has active ability, no ability will be spawned until this current active ability is finished running, basically, which is good. I like it. You know what I'm saying? LeBron James. LeBron James. Where's my sign? Where's my sign? Where's my sign? Where's my sign? Echo? What time is it?
The current time is 11:05 p.m.
Okay, let's see. Did Echo say it was 5? It's not 5, it's fucking 11, bro. I don't know where you got that time from. Not me. Channel Chanel. When you say lie, me, you're Chanel. Echo, play my songs. Yeah, but it will. Okay, so we're gonna say if count is less than or equals 0. Equal out. Look. Focus. Look what the whole body can do. We're gonna go ahead and call reset ability. And yeah, the loop is basically done there. But of course, this is where we're gonna make the player. We're gonna see which player is going, which player is the one that should get these powers. So there's gonna be the hard part. How do we wait? Because we already resetted this, so we don't know which player. But before we reset it, we can store it in a local variable, so we can use it that way. So we're gonna say OP. We'll call it OP, and then we're gonna go ahead and put it as this. And then this is where we're gonna check which player this is. Look what the whole body can do. So over here we have this OP, and of course we need a way to decide which player gets these powers. So that means we need to create another subroutine function. So we'll do P. So this will be P1 apply. No, speed apply. P1 apply. Okay. I say look. So this is where it's gonna apply the speed or apply the effect to player 1. I think it's better to put this on the bottom here. But we're gonna go ahead and do if OP is equal 1, that means it's player 1. Then we're gonna go ahead and call speed to P1. And then we're going to say if OP is equal to speed to P2. And then if that's not the case, then this is going to jump to reset ability, because in this case, we don't know who the player is. So we're just going to say, just reset everything basically, because we're done. This thing is broken. So it's just gonna jump to the reset ability, because by default, if the player do exist, then what's gonna happen here is it's gonna go to the player. Now this is where we have to modify the speed. That would be the Y speed and the X speed. So that, I think that, where is it? Where's the speed? Okay, it's right here, P1X. So like that's the speed they're working with. But that's really hard. How do they move? Let me see. I want to see how they move. How the snakes move. Last position. Last city. Let's see, how do they move? They move by this right here. So it moves by velocity. Let's see, how does the velocity change? It changes by there. So it's not like it's 40. 40 is like the maximum. That's like the speed they're using. Apply up, it removes that. So yeah, like over here, I think we should put the speed here. So we're gonna go ahead and put speed. I think we should do, yeah, depending on which player this is. So this is gonna be player 1. So we'll player 1 speed. And there we go. So that applies the speed basically. So P1 speed by default will be 40, because it's the default value. And this is where we can change the speed basically. So that means we don't even have to do that much. We don't have to like recall it over and over again. I've noticed that it could just be one time, because that's what I thought I had to do. That's why I went through all this sub count frames things. But what we can do is just reset. So what we can do here is, instead of being that, I guess you just set it to 100, right? Although it's pointless to do this over and over again, it's all good. We're just gonna go ahead and jump back to do speed. Copy this. This is gonna be for player 2. So this is moving by 100, which is a lot. I think it should be 80. That's like probably a good value. And then reset ability. Now this is interestingly a bit hard. How do we reset it to the default value? Because we don't even know what we reset it, you know? Echo. Skip. I think it's better if they have their own reset loops, instead of calling different. It's better to have like their own reset loops here. So I'll just go ahead and create one over here. I'll call it speed reset. So that way in this case, I think what we're gonna do here is just reset both of them at the same time. Instead of just having two different labels for different players. I think it's better just to do it like this. And of course, after resetting, this has to go back to the ability, I think, right? Yeah, it has to call the ability function once it's done. So over here, I'm gonna go ahead and tell it to jump to ability, and that's basically all there is to that. And we need to create this variable as well for the other player. 40. Something here. So we're just resetting that. Reset that. What else are we missing? So that's just going to reset the speed for us, for the players. I like it, ooh. I like it, ooh. I like it, ooh. Oh, yeah, it's right here. So this is like the speed of the AI. See right here. If it's up, it takes the player out. Wait. Wait, what the heck? How does that work? Okay, for now. Oh no. Where's the collision? Where is the collision? Collision detection. Oh, like this one. Did I? Okay. So I did create this, but we need to also move it to a different location or like hide it if it gives it to the player. So like right here, we could do source power. Then we're gonna go ahead and hide it and also move it to a different location. So right here we could do position. So we'll be like move it off the screen or all the way, so that way it's not, nobody can get it again, basically. So you do we do minus and then do screen dot width plus width. So that's just going to take it all the way to the left side of the screen. Just to be, actually no, that's basically all we have to do. So that's because someone already has it, so we're just moving it out of the screen, basically. Then I guess we could create like a label here. We call it spawn ability. This will generate it. This will like make it visible on the screen. So how do we do this? Very easy. Power, and then we're gonna do show, and then we're gonna do position. This is where it's gonna spawn it randomly in the screen, basically. So we could do math random 0, and then screen dot width minus height. I mean minus width. And now we need to also do the same thing to the y. Just copy this, change this value. There we go. So that's how we spawn it on the screen. This is going to be a subroutine function instead. So that way we can call it from anywhere. Also, one thing we can do here is we could do if the ability is currently active, then what we need to do here is just ignore. So, or just we could do, fuck it, we could just go to ignore. It makes sense. So ignore is just not gonna execute the code below it. So we can actually call it here as well, I guess. I think the best place to call it. It's only a one-time call because by default it just sets the value and it just repeat executing itself. For now, I'm going to remove the AI collision because I just don't want to work with that right now. So, but we're going to go here. And we don't have to do that anymore. How many times am I using this? Only 2 times. It's all good. Over here, we're going to go ahead and print to the console that the player has the ability, just to confirm that it works. Player has got the ability. Oh wait, why is this? Oh, this is hiding it. Okay, I was gonna say, what the fuck is this doing? Okay, I think we should be good to go now. Let's see how this. Oh no, we're not done actually. One more step we're missing, which is the calling of the ability function itself. So this one, because I said this is a loop. Wait, did I even end it? I didn't end it. That would have been bad. Waxy key, waxy gassy. So we go to this. This is where we have to call it basically. I'm gonna go ahead and say run ability, and we're good to go. That's basically all we have to add. I think. Let's make sure everything's good. Now I gotta make sure I have my weights in the loops, because if we don't, then everything's going to crash. So here we have a weight. That's good. This is where we activate the speed loop itself, which also has one right here. Okay. And of course we have the reset. This is where it resets the ability. I'm also going to go ahead and log ability finished. Ability finished. And then I guess this is where we could call ability execute, because the player has executed the ability. So we could do ability speed ability activated. All right, now let's go ahead and try this to see how this works. So I have my console here just to see the outputs. I'm gonna click execute. So this is the ability. I'm gonna go ahead and take it just to see how it works. Oh, nothing happened. I'm touching it, but it's not registering. That's interesting. Fuck. Why it's not working? Well, I guess one thing we can do here, let's just jump back to the ability, but it's never gonna get executed because it should come here. Okay, so we did get this output in it, but the collision detection doesn't register it. Collision head 1 power give. Is this getting printed? Because I am touching it, but it's not registering the collision for some reason. Let's try again. So the pink is what we need to. I need to touch and see if it prints anything here. Nope. Okay, that's interesting. Okay, I wonder what's going on here. head 1. That's what I called that, right? Let's see. So we have head 2 and we have head 1, which is me. Collision. I'm sure I'm spelling collision the right way, I think. Head, power, head, collision, power. What is causing it to... Why isn't it calling when they collide? Power. Collision. It looks fine to me. Collision. Did I miss something or break something? Why is this? This is not right. So this should not be here, first of all. But I don't think that's the reason why it's not working, you know. What the heck? Oh, it's all the way down here. Just a return statement. Oh, I see it. It's this bar right here. I forgot to add the line terminator. I always forget whenever I'm using the curly brackets. You also are supposed to add a line terminator after it, but I forget. But that's the reason why this didn't get executed. But now I think when we do collide, we should hopefully see something happening in the console right here. Okay, here we go. Let's try again. So I'm the yellow one. I'm gonna touch the pink. Ooh, look at that. Yes, sir. And you can also see actually did remove it from the screen. So now I should be able to activate the speed thing. But I want to do something here because for some reason it printed twice. Oh, I think it's because of yeah. So I have to put over here, and we should get one log only. Okay, we are set. So let me go ahead and set the hotkey, and then we're gonna try this again and see if we can actually activate the ability. I'm gonna use Shift to activate it. Okay, let's reload the scripts. Play, start the game. Here we go. So I'm pressing Shift right now, but I'm not going fast just because I didn't get the point. But if I get it, and now if I press Shift, look how fast I'm going. Am I still going fast? I think I am. It should have reset it by now. Because it's 3 seconds, right? I don't think that worked. That did not work. Because it should have said something in the console when I pressed the... Oh, it's because I have 2 of the logs there. That's why. Okay, let's see what's going on here. So when I activate it, player activate, it goes ahead and turns it on. So I'm gonna go ahead and print to the console so we know this is pressed. User activated ability. Okay. User activated ability. So that would mean this, yeah, this log should have been printed to the console when I activated the ability, but it didn't get printed. So I don't know what happened there. Um, because by default here it checks, it does a comparison. It says if it's 1, it needs to jump to speed. So doing that checks who has the ability. If it's 0, it just returns. And then if the ability is not 1, it goes to idle. And then it does can activate is a call. Oh, this is my fault. I broke it. We have, instead of saying go back to ability, we have to tell it to go back to itself, because this is the loop that it's currently in right now, basically, just waiting for the player to activate the action. That's why it didn't work, I think. So now that should probably fix it for us. Let's try again. So I'm pressing shift, nothing's happening. That's because I don't have the ability. But now that I clicked, look at that. It said user activated ability, but I didn't get the other output. Yeah, it's not activating it. Fuck, how do I fix that? So we should have got this output. So this is where we set the value to 1. Set it to 0. So this is where it's created. Then we activate it. It does a check over here. Who has ability? Who has ability is 0. Active ability. I want to see if this gets executed. Maybe it's breaking because of this right here. Idle state. I just want to see if that ever gets executed, because it shouldn't be getting executed. Okay. Nope, that's not happening. Okay. Give player ability. This is hard. Who has ability? Can activate ability. User activated ability. We set that to 1. And then here we check if can activate ability is not 1. Then we tell it to jump to it. So I'm not sure if it's even executing this. Let's actually log to the console just to see. Speed. speed ability. Let me see what's going on here. Hopefully this doesn't. Whoa, we got speed ability at cold for some reason. Why did that get executed? Wait, that's not right. So when I start the game, instantly it calls speed ability. That's not how that should be working. Oh no, it makes sense. It makes sense why it's doing that. Okay, so then what happens is it calls this, but because it already executed, so this thing returned very fast, which caused it to, oh, this could actually lag as well. Thank God I actually catch it. So right here we should also put 16 milliseconds because it might crash if we don't do that. So in this case, because we're already inside of this loop, we're just going to tell it to just call itself over and over again as well, because we can't just reset the value here, or instead, here we could do if the value, here we could do if the value is not 1, then we can tell it to go back to the ability, because that means it's something else basically. Or no, we could just tell it to go to the idle state, because that would be the right choice, the right thing to do here. But if that's not the case, then who has ability is 0, it doesn't matter in this case. We're just going to tell it to repeat, just keep on calling itself over and over again here. But then, of course, we should also wait 16 milliseconds so that way it doesn't crash OBS. Okay, so I think I'm getting it now. I'm gonna go ahead and remove that. Active ability is not 1; it goes to the idle state. But then here it just jumps back to itself over and over again. If who has ability is 0, meaning if no player has the ability, it will just keep on waiting basically. And then same thing with this. If can activate ability is not 1, it will just jump to itself over and over again. Also, I think this is not a good idea to put the log here, because now it's going to be printing this 100 times per 60 times per second basically. So good to remove that there, because we don't want that right now, because I'm sure this time is actually going to work, So yeah, I think we're ready. Let's try it. Let's see if it works. Let's see what we get this time. There we go. Space. Okay. So I'm gonna go and hit this. Nice. So it says player got the ability. Now I'm gonna click shift. Okay. It says speed ability activated. Player has got the ability. It says the speed has been activated, but I don't feel like I'm going fast. It's the same speed. Same. Nope, that doesn't work. That doesn't work. Although we are getting the speed ability has been activated, which is good, but it just doesn't feel like I'm moving fast. I think it's because of this code right here. Um, um, oh my god, this is what we need to call. But that hasn't mean anything. I'm gonna have to print it to the console just so we can see what's going on here. Okay, here we go. Let's try it again. Come on, come on, come on. Okay. All right, so I had the speed, I activated it, still didn't tell me anything. So this code is not getting executed, basically. This loop right here. Which doesn't make sense. It should have gotten executed. Did I do it wrong? Is it the run command? Reset speed. Oh, it's right here. It's this line. I forgot to add Actually, it's all the lines. I forgot to add the line terminator. Bro, it's so hard sometimes to fucking see it. Oh my goodness. Okay, let's make sure that I got it everywhere. So I have it here. Have it here. Have it here. Looking good. Okay, I think we're good now. Okay. Hopefully this time it works. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna remove this log here that we have, because wait, where the fuck is the log? Oh yeah, I removed it, right? Okay, but I think we should probably be good now. Let's try again. Here we go, guys. Okay, I got the speed. Now I'm gonna click shift. Am I going fast? I think I am. It seems like I'm going faster now. Yeah. I mean, it should have been finished by now. So maybe I'm not going fast. I don't think so. I'm gonna go ahead and put it to the console here just to see if this is actually running. Log speeding, and then I'm gonna do. Also gonna put one over here too. Keep count of the speed value. OP, which is gonna be the player. And then I need to keep track of the player's speed because that's the only one we're modifying right now. All right, let's see what kind of output we get this time. Here we go. Nope. Okay. Still doesn't seem to be executing the label for some reason. I thought that was the reason. Is it missing more than one parameters? Speed. Speed is good. Speed, speed, speed. Speed. Come on, what is the issue? What is causing it to do this? What the fuck? Hmm. Speeding. I have it over here too. Over there. Wait. It's up here and down. Hmm. I don't know if it's this block here or if there's like pursing error with the compiler. It's like this code here is being skipped somehow. Hmm. I'm sure there's something wrong with the parser, probably. It's the engine that I'm currently using. I think there's like an error somewhere. Let me see. Hmm. I think there is something wrong with it. Has to be the engine. So let me just check something real quick. Because this code used to work a long time ago, like using the block here, the run command, and using the brackets, which allows you to write multiple lines of code at the same time. But now it doesn't work. I think it's because of the upgrades that I made to it. Maybe broke the whole thing. My darling, let you fly away international. Into attending the banking phone. Really? Alright, let me check something here. I don't know. Trying to see if I can fix this problems by myself, you know. Problems how do I get to it? Oh shit. Is that plus? There we go. Oh, this is the old version of it. God dang it. What the heck? When did this change? Because I remember this thing. Wait, I think I have like the old version of it maybe somewhere here. But that's what I hit. What is this? Scriptic physics engine. Resolve path, compile line. Script hybrid. Is it this one? Copy the rest of the arcs. Nope, that's not the one. I think that's the old version. Animation, hybrid, scripts. I think maybe this one? Nope, that's the same shit. Shoot. Okay, maybe we'll come back tomorrow and fix this thing. See what we can do about it. Other than that, guys, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thanks for being here.